Welcome to Learn with me. Today I am here with you with the format of the formal letter writings. Letter writings, as a writing skill, it is one of the premier writing skills. And in our day-to-day life, in our student life, as well as when we are trying to, seek something, we need to write formal letters. In that cases, the formal letters have a particular structure or the format. So today we are going to discuss about that particular format of a formal letter. Before that, formal letter, when we are talking about formal letter, these formal letters may be letter to the editor, it may be letter to any designate, that means any official designate, it may be a letter of placing some order. For example, you want to purchase a book, an electronic item, any gadget, that kind of a letter. It may also come under a letter of complaint also. For example, you have purchased something and you are not happy with that. You can write a letter following this particular format. So when we are talking about the format of the formal letter, these are some of the steps that we need to follow strictly. First, we are talking about the step that is the very beginning of the letter. The letter begins with the sender's address. Sender's address means who is writing the letter or who is sending the letter. So the address, the sender's address that we are talking about, the sender's address may be like this, and you definitely get the sender's address from the question itself. There it would be written. If not written, any address we can put from our own imagination. But how to put the address? It should be like this. For example, I am giving, let us say, for example, 45B, then Town Road, Kolkata, 03. That means the address we are talking about, it should be in brief. It never should be the address of correspondence that we generally write by putting all the details. It should be brief. Maybe the name of your street, the name of your locality, along with the pin code. After this sender's address, we need to write the date. Now, how to write the date? It should not be like, let us say, for example, 21/8/21. It should not be like this. This particular date in a formal letter, we need to follow a particular kind of format. Like, if we try to write the date we should put like this. Let us say August 21, 2021. We can put it like this, or we can put 21 August 2021. Anything like this we can put, but not the traditional way of writing the date. This should not be there. This is the way of putting the date in a formal letter. After date, in point number 3, we have the receiver's designation and address. Receivers means to whom you are addressing, or rather to whom you are writing the letter. So that address, it will be in the question itself, and from that you need to write the address. But how to put that address in your letter, that also has a specific way. So let us know how to do it. This receiver's designation and address, for example, you are writing a letter, to the manager of any of the store. So how to write? It is like this: the manager. Then let us say ABC store. So in place of this, anything can be there, the name that is there. So this one is the designation we are talking about, and this one is the name of the store along with the address. So let us say Kolkata 02, like this. So this one is the receiver's designation along with the address. This also should be written like this. This also has a specific kind of format. So number 1, sender's address, who is sending the letter. Number 2, date. In that particular way that we have seen, we need to put the date. After that, the receiver's address, to whom we are writing the letter. Next follows, after this, next follows the subject. Subject means the subject of the letter. That means, why are you writing the letter? What is the subject of your letter? That should come next. After that, the salutation. Salutation, all of us we know, it should be like sir or madam. Sir or madam. This one is the salutation. After this salutation, we have the body of the letter, the main part of the letter. So, number 1, sender's address. Number 2, date. Number 3, receiver's address. Number 4, the subject. Number 5, the salutation. After the salutation comes the body of the letter. In that body of the letter, we have altogether 3 things here. We need to follow 3 paras. The body of the letter includes 3 paras. Number 1, it's the introduction. That means you should introduce why are you writing. Why are you writing the letter? You need to say in the very first para of the body of your formal letter. Number 2, para 2. In para 2, you need to write the main content. Here you would write the main content. In the main content, you would give every detail. For example, you are dissatisfied of a purchased item, you need to put the detail. For example, you want to place some order, so what are the items you want to purchase, you need to give the detail. For example, you are writing a letter to the editor, so what are the problems for which you are writing the letter to the editor, you need to furnish every detail in the para 2, that is the main content. And at last, in para 3, that one, the last para of our body in para 3, it is conclusion. Conclusion means the action that you want to be taken. The action that you want to be taken. So this one is the last and the final para of the body of our letter. So here we need to say what action we want to be taken from the concerned authority or to whom you have sent the letter. So this body of the letter, it includes 3 paras. Para number 1, introduction of yourself and why are you writing the letter. Para number 2, you have to deal with the main content with every single detail. and the last and the third para, in that the conclusion part, that is the action that you want to be taken. So after this body, after we have written the body, we have dealt with the body of the letter, what we have to do? We have to write the complementary closure or the complementary clause. In that complementary clause, generally what we write? Thanking you. Thanking you, then we put a comma, then sincerely or truly or faithfully, anything we can write in this complementary clause after the body of the letter. And at the very last part, that is our point number 8, we have the sender's name and designation. That means who is writing the letter. That name itself would be given in the question. If it is not given, generally it is given because that is the way it is given. So whatever name would be given, that name you need to write in this particular sender's name and designation. So for example, at last it should be a name, whatever name would be given, and designation if it is applicable. This designation, obviously if applicable, if this particular person has any kind of designation, if this particular person has been given any designation as per the question itself, that designation you just put after the name. So this is what the format of writing a formal letter. We need to follow 8 steps. Number 1, the sender's address. Number 2, the date. Number 3, the receiver's address. Then we have at number 4, the subject of the letter. After the subject, we need to salute, means we need to put the salutation like sir or madam, whatever it is. Then we have the body of the letter. In the body of the letter, altogether we have 3 paras. In para 1, we have to deal with the introduction, means why are you writing the letter. In para 2, you need to deal with the details of the letter and the thing and the subject. And in the last para, that is in para 3, you need to write the concluding part. That means if you want the authority to take any kind of action or your demand, for example, you are demanding anything. You are demanding the authority to take any action. In that part we can put in the last para of the body of our letter. And after that, after the body, we need to write the complementary clause. Complementary clause means like thanking you or thanking you in anticipation, sincerely. Then we can also write faithfully or we can write truly. All these things come under this complementary clause. And at the very end, we need to write the sender's name and designation. Now that name would definitely be provided in the question paper itself, and if any designation is also provided, we need to write that designation just at the bottom of the our format. That means after the name. So first we need to write the name. Just after this, we need to write the designation. So this is what the format. Now, how to write a letter by following this format. So we would take an example of a formal letter and we would see how to write that formal letter following this concrete format. One thing I want to share, that if you follow this concrete format of this formal letter, any of the formal letters that we have initially seen, either editorial letter, letter to any of the official designate, letter of complaint, letter for placing some order, letter of dissatisfaction, anything you can write by following this format. So now let us take an example. Now let us take a question and let us try to answer this question following this format. So here we go. So here we are with our example. Here we have a question and we would try to answer that question. Means we would try to write the formal letter following the particular format, following those 8 points that we have seen earlier. So here we have a question like, you are Neha or Varun of 45 Town Road, Kolkata. Recently you have purchased a book from Indiana Books, College Street, Kolkata. The book is torn in some pages. Now write to the sales manager a letter complaining the situation. So this is what is given in our question. So we have been provided the names, the address of the sender, as well as the address of the receiver with the official designation of the receiver. So 3 main points are provided. One is the name of who is sending the letter, the address of the sender, and the third, the address and designation of the receiver. So this is how we start following that particular format that we have for writing any formal letter. So for 45B Town Road, Kolkata, that particular address is already given there. After the address, we need to put the date, and we have seen how to put the date. So this is the way of putting the date. After that, we have been provided the sender's receiver's address, and we need to furnish after the date the receiver's address as well as the designation. Means the sales manager, that is the designation to whom you are writing the letter. After that, the name of the bookstore along with the address. So sender's address, date, and receiver's address. After this, we would follow the next steps. So after receiver's address, we need to put the subject. Now the subject is itself in the question paper, because you are not satisfied with the purchased book. The book is torn in some of the pages. So that means I have put it like this: dissatisfaction regarding a purchased book. The book that you purchased, you are not satisfied with that. So the subject I have put like dissatisfaction regarding a purchased book. After the subject, we know following the format, we have the salutation. After the subject, we have the salutation. So sir or madam, anything. Then we need to write the very first para of our body where we would introduce. So I have written like this as the introductory part of the body of my letter. I am writing this letter in connection with the book that I purchased from your store on 18th of this month. So this particular detail as my introduction of the letter I have put here. After the introduction, the second para of the body of our letter, we would come to here. Here it is the details of the situation or the details of the thing or the details of what you want to convey through your letter to the concerned person. So here it is like, I purchased the latest edition of Life's Amazing Secrets. But to my utter surprise, I found some of the pages are torn. Though it's nicely packed, I rang your storekeeper but didn't get a positive response. So this is your situation. This is your situation. This is the main content part. Here you have given the details of everything, that you purchased a book, the name of the book also you have given. This detail needs to be given. Then what you found, that means what your problem is. This is the problem. some of the pages are torn, then what effort you took? You rang the storekeeper, but as you didn't get a positive response or a fit reply, now you are writing the letter to the sales manager. So in this particular para number 2, the details we have to give. After this para 2, in our para 3, we would see the conclusion part, how to conclude this letter and what are the things to be written in the concluding part of our letter. So after these 2 paras, we would see the third para or the last para of the body of our letter. So in our third and the last para of the body of our formal letter, that is the concluding part, the conclusion of the body of the letter, we have to demand, means we have to place our demand, or we have to say what action we want to be taken because of the situation that we have described in our para 2. So here I have written like this: therefore I request you to look into the matter as early as possible. I demand a new copy as replacement or full refund. So this you can write, either to replace the copy or I want the full refund. So that is what your demand as well as the conclusion of your letter. After this conclusion of the body of the letter, we need to write the complementary clause. This one is the complementary clause. So thank you sincerely. After this complementary clause, we need to write the name of the sender. So both the names were given in our question itself. So these 2 names we have written. Now when you will be writing the letter, whichever would be applicable to you as per your gender, that you can obviously write. Next, one more thing was there actually. With the name, designation was also there. But when we saw the question, there was no designation. But the designation was hidden, I would rather like to say, because you were not satisfied as a customer. So that you can make as your designation. Like I have put it here like this, a dissatisfied customer. But this one is definitely, you may write, you may not write. If any clear designation is given, you can write. If any clear designation is not given, you can write like this. This is your optional. But whenever a clear designation would be given, you need to write. So this is how we need to furnish a formal letter following those 8 points that we have discussed. One thing you must remember, and that should be maintained at any cost. Like when we type something on our PC or desktop, we say something left side alignment. So this left side alignment here also in our formal letter, we need to follow. Whatever we will be writing, we would, in our copy, we would try to have that left side alignment. So today we have discussed the format of the formal letter along with one example. I hope things are clear to you. Hopefully you have understood everything. So those who are very new to this channel, I would like to say, to subscribe and you definitely press the bell icon for more updates. So that's all for today. Thank you. Thank you everyone.